What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Anime Yokage, and I'm coming at you today with One Piece, Chapter 1107. I've been looking for you. And the cover page submission is Beppo feels awkward after seeing Law napping with a snow leopard. And I guess that he's feeling jealous because it looks like Law put down a whole bottle of vodka and decided to just take a nap and lean back on the snow leopard he was like partying with. And Beppo, being a mink, part animal or majority animal, he doesn't like it, so he actually puts a funnel into the snow leopard's mouth with boiling water, about to pour it in, and holding a baseball bat over the top. Kind of dark and weird, but I guess cute and wholesome in a way. Let's get to the chapter. So we jump back in right where we left off, and the giant warrior pirates are invading Egghead to come save Luffy and the gang. But it's not just Dory and Bragi. It's actually Oimo and Kashi, who we saw back at Water 7, and a lot of other ones. There are a lot of old giant warrior pirates that are joining in the fray. And the naval tactics that I really hoped were true in one of my other videos, they're just swinging their swords and axes at the side. That's their naval tactics. That's how they take out everybody. And it looks like one swing of one of their weapons takes out entire marine battleships. So I don't know, looks like 7 or 8 giants and 100 ships. It's not going to take long to take out an entire fleet. We get this larger spread of the Marines reporting who they're seeing and what they're seeing. And dude, it's showing Dory, and you got veins popping out of his arms. I knew I always liked him more than Bragi. I'm sorry for any Bragi fans. I'm just a Dory guy. That's who I am. So after we see the giant warrior pirates advance into the island, we actually see some binoculars that are catching them and watching them. And thank you, Oda, it is Usopp. Usopp sees them and starts crying, saying, "My masters!" This is a long awaited reunion that we've all been waiting for, and we didn't have to wait for Elbaf to get it. I don't know whether to call it Elbaf or Elbaf. For some reason, the Nordic blood in me wants to say Elbaf. So I'm sorry if that's annoying, but I'm going to run with it. Usopp wonders first thing, what are they doing here? And we're given a little bit of backstory again that Oimo and Kashi probably went back and retrieved them from Little Garden, went back to Elbaf or Elbaf, and they then formed together after they heard that Luffy needed help and headed straight there. And if you're not familiar with the backstory of the giant warrior pirates or the members of the other giants that we met with in this story, go watch Little Garden. You're going to get all caught up. It's not that much of an arc. So if you want to know what's happening now, go do that because that's too much to explain in a video. Do your own homework. Edison, one of the satellites of Vegapunk, as you can imagine, is very relieved that the giant warrior pirates have showed up to help. And it shows him with a bandage around his head. He's a robot, so I don't know how a bandage helps, but I guess that's just a manga's way of showing that someone is injured or out of commission. And as Usopp, Edison, and Nami and Chopper are all talking amongst each other, they kind of realize that, like, oh, how'd they get here? Well, there was a ton of manpower that got drummed up by the world government and the Marines in order to make this happen. So no wonder it made the papers. And as soon as the papers got out, no wonder they saw it and wanted to come help. Elbaf isn't far from Egghead, so it's not a crazy journey. Usopp brings up the point that means they didn't come to wage war, they came here to help us. So, whatever prep that we're doing or whatever we need to succeed before we get out of here, we need to do it now because we can't let them wait. There's like 8 giants coming here to help them and save them and give them this opportunity to get out. They cannot let the Marines collaborate, get together, and form an attack back on the giants and put themselves in danger and also the chance of them getting off the island in danger. That's quick common sense thinking from Usopp. We cut back to the Thousand Sunny that is still traveling at too fast a speed in order to stop. And if they keep going, they'll fly off the edge and hit the barrier, and the Thousand Sunny will be destroyed by the barrier, the Labo phase. And Jinbei still using the levitation wave shoes. He's actually a lot better at that than I thought. Like seeing Jinbei jump on one of those 2-wheel hoverboards that we see kids on all the time. And he's just taken off with these. Very good. But I guess using his body to flow through the air, making it like water, it makes sense, him being a fish man and all. But he's still on the way to save Zoro from the Lucci fight. And Zoro doesn't need to be saved, but he needs to be reminded that we need to go. We're not here to fight. You don't have all the time in the world. We need to go right now. We see Armament Hockey's sword and claws clashing together. And Zoro says, "You're pretty tough, but I need to wrap this up. I need to go." And Lucci in his awakened form says, "Only a winner gets to talk like that, Roronoa. You haven't won anything yet." And Rob Lucci brings up the point: the longer I keep you here, the longer the Straw Hats cannot leave. Because if they can't cut off a limb or a crew member in order to escape, they'll perish if they keep getting held here. So basically, he tells Zoro, "You're dead weight and you're doing nothing but adding to the detriment of your crew." And even though Zoro's panting and sweating, we know he's not being serious yet. He's only using two swords. He doesn't have his bandana on. He's not doing anything Ashura. He's not serious yet. He is just fighting regular, which Rob Lucci, using a full awakened zone and armament hockey, he's kind of going all out. Zoro still has quite the gap that he can reach in order to defeat and end this quickly, but I don't think Zoro found a need to do this. And that may be an example of underestimating his opponent. And that may be an issue of underestimating his opponent. I know Rob Lucci got absolutely destroyed by Luffy in Gear 5th, but that is Luffy in Gear 5th, a Yonko who just defeated Kaido. There's no doubt that he'd be no diff. But we have to remember, Rob Lucci is the head of CP0. He is their lead top assassin agent. And so him being able to put up a fight against the number two in the Straw Hat crew is not crazy, but we do know that Zoro could finish this if he wanted to. Zoro may not know what's going to go on in the future, so he's trying to save his energy because it seems like after he uses Ashura, he's pretty wore out unless he gets that shot that he got on Onigashima that 10 times his put of damage onto himself. So as this is all going on and the giant pirates are destroying ships, it's not just them. The pacifistas are firing on the Marines as well. And if you remember from way back in the day, whenever we got explained about the Pacifista is a battleship on land. It costs just as much as a battleship and is the equivalent in power to having a battleship on land. So we cut over to the Vice Admiral that has like 7 or 8 chins, and we actually get his name. His name is Vice, and we actually get his name. His name is Vice Admiral Red King. And as cool as a name as that is, I don't think that he can live up to the badassery that it is. But it's actually a reference to a monster within Ultraman, I found out. He tells all the smaller battleships to retreat and hang back because there's no point in just letting them getting destroyed and letting the larger battleships move to the front in order to take out pacifistas and fight against the giant warrior pirates. I really don't think they knew what they were getting into whenever they came to Egghead. They must have made that Buster call forever ago, and it still is not being enacted yet because they can't get together in order to start the bombardment. And in the next scene, we actually see that the battleships are having effect against the pacifistas. One of the battleships is able to blast one of the pacifistas right in the face and knock it to its back. I don't know if it's destroyed, but they're definitely doing damage to him. Which in the One Piece world, I feel like any kind of guns or cannons, if they're not wielded by someone like Yasop or Van Augur or somebody, they're kind of stupid and useless. But here they're showing to be quite effective. So, but moving on, we go back over to seeing Luffy up in the sky with the Nika pose and everyone underneath them, like Kuma, Atlas, Sanji, Bonnie, Saturn, everybody. And it's really cool because we get the scene of Bonnie yelling to Luffy saying, "I've been looking for you." And he says, "Why? I've been here the whole time." And she says, "No, you're sun god Nika." And he says, "I've never heard of that. I don't know who that is," which is a perfect Luffy response. But they get to talking about that attack that Bonnie tried to hit Saturn with in the very beginning and tried to emulate Sun God Nika. And he says, that was pretty weak. She said, "I was trying to fight like you." And Luffy says, "Well, I'll show you how to fight like me." And so we get a brand new named attack, Dawn Gatling, which before we knew that Gatling was him moving his fists really fast and making a whole bunch of them, which actually now I don't know if that's what Luffy was doing. The entire time he could have just been making more fists. But I think here he's making more fists, kind of like Kong Organ, and he just blasts Saturn in the face and blows him back. And honestly, at this point, if you have any stock left in Saturn, I'd sell it because I can't see him getting hit this many times or taking this much damage or them being put in a corner this much and then going, "All right, I was only going 15%. I'll go more." Saturn even tries to hit Luffy with that glare head blow up attack. Luffy takes it like a champ. A little bit of blood comes out, but he comes right back and attacks him with the Dawn Gatling. When Saturn first came on the scene, I was just expecting to be way more impressed, but there's probably still some power looming in there waiting to be unleashed. The guy hasn't been down to the lower level or even had to lift a finger in God knows how long. So this may be waking him up. I hope so, because I really want to see a super powerful opponent that they go up against, because they can't really hurt Saturn, but he's not really hurting them. He stabbed Vegapunk, which you stabbed a non-combatant. You just stabbed an old man. It's not like that's super impressive or whoa, like he really is powerful, strong. You literally just lifted up your leg and went. Psst. So I really want to see something impressive from Saturn, but God, he's getting cooked, dude. He's getting cooked.
He got cooked. Adrian, you didn't go down like that, huh? He got cooked.
So Frankie runs up to Bonnie and Atlas holding Kuma. And they all say, hey, this is awesome, but we got to go. We got to go right now. And Bonnie is still trying to comfort Vegapunk on the ground. And Vegapunk says, above all things, being a scientist, I'm also a medical doctor. I know as much as there can be about medical science. And if you move me, I'll most likely die. So you need to leave me. You need to leave me and you need to get out of here. And we know that Vegapunk is very selfless when it comes to his friends, or especially Bonnie and Kuma. And Kizaru's still playing into the bit of not caring at all or anything. He says, you'll be dead either way. This is it. And Bonnie and Vegapunk laying on the ground, he starts to begin to fire a laser at them. But you can see that when he's firing the laser, he's actually closing his eyes, trying not to see what he's about to do. And just in that moment, Sanji's stocks rise. Sanji jumps up and kicks the light beam, not deflecting it or anything. He actually shatters the light beam and disperses it. So, as you can guess, everybody there is shocked. Even Kizaru. We see a face from Kizaru, sweating, scared. Whoa.
Oh, DD. Oh, what it is? Oh, DD.
We've never seen this kind of emotion expressed from him before, but also Frankie is freaked out, and we actually get a close-up of Sanji's face. And Sanji, the eyebrow is flipped, and I think this happened during the Queen fight, to where it's showing like his Germa capabilities coming out and being unlocked. I don't know if that's a power-up, a transformation that he can subtly do. I guess this is Sanji's Super Saiyan form. And Sanji actually says to Kizaru, light doesn't hold a candle to the power of love. And Kizaru, now being the canonically, physically accurate person he is, says, well, if that's the case, we're just going to toss physics out the window. When were they ever in? You're literally a light person fighting against a rubber man with a giant spider as a boss behind you. When were physics ever a part of this? Oh, don't forget the 2 cyborg human in front of you, and also the giants that just came onto the island. Physics, they just, well, now nothing makes sense because Sanji blocked that. Atlas reminds everybody that as long as they're on the island, these boots that allow them to fly around should work perfectly. If they leave the island, they won't work. But right now, they do, and they need to use them. Kizaru, being annoyed, but, oh, I'm going to pickle now. He stays to fight Sanji whenever he's more than fast enough to pursue Frankie, Atlas, and the crew, and still take out Bonnie and Vegapunk if he wanted. He really keeps flip-flopping, or it's just not realistic, because Kizaru, if Kizaru wants to catch you, he'll catch you. He's literally light. He explains to Sanji, though, they're going to at least expect me to bring your heads back, or else I'm going to be in trouble. And Sanji says back to him, well, you better start writing an apology letter, because that's not happening. We actually cut back over to Saturn emerging from the rubble after being hit with Dawn Gatling, and we see a familiar foot. The Blackbeard Pirates have made it back on the scene. It is Katarina Devon and Van Augur. And Katarina Devon says, well, it's not every day you see one of the 5 Ellers in the dirt with us. And it's kind of like a double pun, because he had to come down to the lower level of the world, and also he's in the dirt from being hit by Luffy. And she starts going on about, oh, what an incredible power you have, which we don't even know the extent of this. It is an incredible power from what we've seen so far. But she said, but you've made the job that much easier for us. And she touches Saturn's leg and says, mission complete. Which, if you know Katarina Devon's powers, you'll know how huge this is. It seems that anyone that she has physical contact with, having the nine-tail fox fruit, she's able to copy their clothes, their appearance, their mannerisms, their memories, everything. And now she can transform into one of the Gorosei. That means she can go freely, enter or know anything that a Gorosei can, which there are no limits to the Gorosei. And this just became a huge tool or asset for the Blackbeard Pirates. You can't touch anyone higher besides Eam, which I don't even know if they know that Eam exists. But at this point, Saturn has to know what fruit Katarina Devon has because he's aware of who they are. But Saturn gets up just having a casual conversation with him after. He's like, Katarina Devon, a level 6 inmate. I'm surprised you would be a subordinate to anyone. And she rebuttals with, teaches special. And just as we thought, Saturn says, as his lineage, which we don't know what lineage line he's from, but we know that his body is different. And we've been told that this entire time, but we've never got confirmation that he's anything but human. And I still don't know if he's anything but human. Whenever he says his lineage, he may be speaking about a certain person, if he's the son of, or the son of Rocks, or a distant relative of him, or even a distant relative of Joy Boy and his psyche just went wrong. And Saturn starts questioning, you guys are always up to something. What do you guys want? What do you want? And Van Augur just simply replies with, the world. And getting that response, Saturn just attacks with one of his legs, and Van Augur warps him and Katarina Devon out of the way of the attack. Van Augur is getting a lot of love in the manga currently and the anime. I don't know if you guys saw episode 1093, but there is a big revelation of how truly powerful Van Augur is. It shows the old cover story to where Van Augur is going to Whole Cake Island with Kuzan to kidnap Pudding. But whenever they get there, Cracker is on the front line in order to try and stop them. It didn't show the fight between Cracker Kuzan and Van Augur in the manga because it was only a cover page story, but it did show it in the episode. And in the episode, Van Augur is absurdly strong. Cracker makes 3 of his biscuit soldiers appear, and they go on to try and attack. Van Augur warps away to a higher vantage point and takes his rifle and one-shots each one of the biscuit soldiers. Same biscuit soldiers that were taking Gear 4th Kong guns from Luffy and could only be really destroyed after Nami got the biscuits and Crackers sopping wet in order for Luffy to attack them. Let me preface that again. The Crackers and the soldiers, they were able to withstand a Gear 4th Kong gun, the same attack that sent Doflamingo through the entirety of Dressrosa. And Van Augur one-shots each one of these with his rifle, which I don't know if he's pouring hockey into each one of these bullets. And even so, I didn't know that Van Augur had that much hockey. The same amount of hockey that Luffy has within a Kong gun, or if he's using Sea Prism Stone bullets, which I still don't think that would make it the same amount of hitting power. But regardless, this is insane. One shot from Van Augur is more powerful than Luffy's Kong gun. Now, I think this is a mistake from the anime team. I think they were just trying to elaborate on what happened and everything. I don't think that this power can be canonically accurate because that is ridiculous. And then that brings me to the point of Jean Bart, because earlier in the episode, whenever Van Augur is about to shoot Law, Jean Bart jumps in front of the bullet, just puts up his arms, and tanks the bullet in the stomach. It hits, it doesn't even pierce his clothing or anything, and drops to the ground. Jean Bart's like, ugh, but he doesn't look hurt. So what the hell does that say about Jean Bart? What is this guy's durability? If that was the case, he should have been fighting on Onigashima. I know he was there, but he should have been fighting because he could have been the shield for them the entire time against Big Mom's attacks, Kaido's attacks. He may not lasted too long, but damn, dude. But anyways, I got carried away. We cut back to show Van Auger and Katarina Devon walking away through a forested area, and he says, "Come on, we got to hurry up and go. I wasn't able to warp us off the island because I still haven't mastered it yet." Which we've seen the extent of how warp can work so far. What does he mean, master it? I know that you can awaken devil fruits and everything, and you can just get very proficient with them, but how far can this guy warp? And what are the limitations? I'm sorry, sidetracked again. This is just crazy to me. We see someone stop Van Auger and Katarina Devon, and it's none other than Caribou, the guy that we've been carrying since what, Fishman Island? He's just been in a barrel on the Thousand Sunny this entire time. And he really wants to meet Blackbeard. I know a lot of people thought before that he was working for Blackbeard and he was gathering information for Blackbeard and somehow transmitting it back to him. But I think this is showing that he was never working for him in the first place. And now we see that he's actually the inspiration for Caribou. And this is really bad because Caribou knows way more than he should. He knows about all the ancient weapons besides Uranus right now. He knows about Pluton, he knows where it is, and he also knows about Shirahoshi Poseidon, which is at Fishman Island. He's aware where both ancient weapons are, and he's aware how Shirahoshi uses hers. To go get Pluton out of Wano, they have the perfect means to do it. They have the warp fruit, and they also have the quake fruit that can break down the borders of Wano and reveal Pluton in order for them to steal it. As horrible as this is to hear that Wano could get attacked again, it's kind of the perfect setup because Wano and Fishman Island are both Straw Hat territory, to where if he attacks both of them, Luffy has a reason to fight back. But also, it's not just because it's his territory. These are his friends. These are the people that he fought tooth and nail to save. And if he hears that they went back and actually destroyed Wano and stole that from them, and they hurt Kinemon, they hurt Momo, Yamato, anyone else, Luffy is going to be so over the top enraged. Also, side note, when talking about Katarina Devon and Van Auger on the island, we thought before that the only person fast enough to feed Luffy would have been Kizaru, or if Caribou would have used his Swamp fruit in order to give him all that food out of nowhere. Because remember, Luffy was able to get his stamina back after eating all the food that Saturn pointed out. Who gave him all that food? What if it was Van Auger? What if Van Auger did that to prolong the fight in order to put Saturn in a situation where they could steal his devil fruit? And also, if Van Auger was able to get that close to Luffy, that means Katarina Devon was as well. And if Katarina Devon was able to get that close, she was probably able to touch Luffy in his state, which if Katarina Devon touches Luffy, we know what could happen now. And that even cuts back to the prophecy that they had on Fishman Island that Luffy would be the one to bring down Fishman Island in flames. It may not have been Luffy, it may just be someone who looks like Luffy, which also would push Luffy over the limit, knowing that they used his image in order to make the Fishman think that he came back to betray them. Everything is setting up for Caribou to tell them about this stuff, and then for them to enact this injustice against Wano and Fishman Island, and at Fishman Island, make it look like it was Luffy, the one who they prophesized that would happen with. Can you imagine the anger that Luffy would have against the Blackbeard crew after all that happened? He would probably hate them almost more than Akainu. So we'll see what happens next chapter. But as of right now, I mean, things are looking good for the Straw Hats, but things are also looking really bad for the Straw Hats. Tell me what you guys think. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you see this coming? Was anything surprising you? And what do you want to see happen next? I'm always so happy to see from you guys in the comment section and get your input. Again, I'm sorry for the untimeliness of this video. A lot of things got put on my plate and it got postponed. But I'm back trying to put out very timely comment for you guys, and I can't wait to make the next video for you. If you have any ideas for other videos I can make, go ahead and let me know. I am looking for ideas, and I am trying to be more present in your guys' YouTube feed. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Anime Okage, see you later.